All right, today a quick word about the permanent pivot foot. So, based on the majority of coaches that I've seen and talked to, the permanent pivot foot seems to be the most popular way to teach a pivot foot, as opposed to teaching an inside pivot foot, where you would use both feet. Personally, I like players to be able to use both feet, but I do know that the permanent pivot foot is very popular. One reason that's given for using a permanent pivot foot is that it will reduce the likelihood that a player travels. Now, I watch 2 to 4 games in person every single week, high school and college, and there are still many traveling violations every single game. So the permanent pivot foot, if that is the reason for using it, doesn't seem to be having its desired effect. Now, it's possible that using both feet could lead to more travels, but so far, from what I've seen, using a permanent pivot foot hasn't reduced traveling in and of itself. And one reason why I think, especially for younger players, youth players, it actually may increase the number of travels is because it's an unnatural position that we're asking the players to use. So if I'm going to start from put the ball to a side for a second, if I'm going to start from a neutral position and run forward as fast as I can, the first thing I'm going to do is split step. Okay, and a lot of people think of that as a negative, but it's a natural movement to get my body in a better position to move forward. Now, if I can choose what stance I want to use to sprint as fast as I can, I'm going to start in a split stance already, because that's going to get rid of that step and allow me to push to go forward. Now, if I'm using in basketball, if I'm using my left foot as my pivot foot and my right foot is forward in a typical positive stance here, I have to step with my front foot to avoid the travel. The natural movement, if I could use either foot right now, the natural movement would be to step with my back foot, okay, to keep my front foot planted and drive forward on that foot. And so I think because that's our natural movement, is to step with our trail foot as opposed to stepping with our lead foot, I actually think that demanding a permanent pivot foot and using the left foot as a pivot foot for a right-handed player and starting with the right foot forward, that actually makes it more likely that I shuffle my feet here before I dribble and ultimately leads to more travels.